Matthew Menham Rock and Roll magazine. My magazine has incorporated lots of media stars over the course of the project. It's got a skyline, a masthead, a main image, pull quotes, cover line, prices, and a barcode, all in the correct places. Distributors. My magazine has quite a general theme to it, with quite a large audience. However, it is quite expensive for smaller retailers in sparsely populated areas to stock it, so would maybe be distributed in by large companies who can afford to have it on the shelves, the paper shelf space, such as W.H. Smith's and music stores like H&V in larger towns and cities. My estimated sales figures are about 500,000 per month. My survey shows that the magazine appeals to young people, particularly older teens. The USP is a magazine cover covering both indie and rock music listeners, and is them who the magazine is aimed at. These social groups are represented by the dark colour scheme and relaxed, scruffy look of the main image. I attracted my audience by releasing questionnaires on Facebook made in SurveyMonkey. They consisted of a group of my friends who I contacted through Facebook. In Photoshop, I have learnt to use the adjustments tool, which include changing the image to achieve shading and lighting effects, using brushes, creating background design that's striking and textured. Using SurveyMonkey has really helped to connect to my audience and get feedback quickly and easily. I also used this to improve my work using their suggestions. I was able to share work and ideas through Blogger. Connecting to SlideShare, I was able to post slideshows about my coursework, which are then embedded into Blogger. Starting off with no knowledge of Photoshop at all was a huge challenge, but I was progressive and I learnt loads. Brushes, curves, adjustments, to name a few. Learning how to manipulate the text, such as stroke and blending, has really helped to make my final project. Thank you for listening.
Right, okay, if we can have a look at your front page. Just talk us through, so in terms of codes and conventions then, of other magazines, what codes and conventions have you adhered to, and what codes and conventions maybe haven't you used?
Well, magazines like Q magazine, they use the masthead on the left-hand side, so it's easy. So when you stock the magazine, you can see it easily on in the shelves. I could have used the masthead across the whole of the top, but I didn't. I chose that style. Pull quotes, obviously, and cover lines. I also used freebies that I've featured on lots of magazines, like my free MP3s, which are inside, and also posters, which are really good selling.
Okay. Just to be clear then, this magazine is aimed at what particular social group or social groups?
Indie rockers, so not quite emo, but definitely not chatty.
Okay, what age group?
Older teens to young adults, so between 16 and 24.
Okay, just talk us through the design thoughts of that front cover in relation to that, the contents page, and your double page spread. Can you just take us through that again and talk to us about house style and how you built that style?
Well, I decided on a really dark colour scheme, so I changed the image to be a lot darker than the actual original photograph really was. And I chose a lot of black on white background, but to contrast that I used colours on the free quotes, on the free MP3s and the big yellow text boxes. If I go to my contents page, I use a lot of texture on the back of it. It's the same styles as the front page, but I use a lot more texture, and I use brushes on that as well. And for my dog page spread, I put a better, different coloured background with a lot more coloured text and bold style writing.
Okay. In terms of other magazines that will be fighting for shelf space alongside yours, who do you see to be the main competitors?
Kerrang and Q magazine, which are my other competitors in the industry of rock and indie, my USP is the indie rock style, which is not featured. It's not as heavy as Kerrang, but not as light as Q. So I have that on there.
Sure. Okay. We've got any other questions?
Did you have any problems making a magazine and comparing and like inspiration?
Not particularly, but I did find a problem with layering on the double page spread particularly. I found layering my images up and building through the brushes.
Sure.
And yeah.
How did you go about building or determining a reader profile? What were the steps you took to actually build up a reader profile?
I released a number of questionnaires as well.
So you did a questionnaire, Survey Monkey?
Yes,
before the production of this magazine. And what sort of questions would you ask? What feedback did you get from them?
I asked people how they listen to the music and what kind of music they listen to, and they said this kind of music is good. I gave a list of songs and bands, and they responded to who I was aiming at. Responded to these type of bands, which are indie rock.
Did they give you any clues as to how they would want a magazine to look, or what they would want featured in the magazine?
They wanted interesting articles, so that's why I added the tattoo articles and fashion updates, and they really wanted gigs as well, so I featured my £10 gig article.
You've come a long way, as you said, really, from your college magazine or your CD project. What's been the biggest learning curve for you in terms of all the technologies you've worked with throughout this year in media? Definitely the adjustments, and because when I first started out, I didn't use a wider range of tools in Photoshop, but now I use a large category of tools involving curves, adjustments, and the sponge tool as well to make my photos look a lot better. Okay, thank you very much.